Okay, so it's 5 in the morning. I am at the beach, not just any beach, and I think you're gonna enjoy this. I'm shooting the sunrise by the beach, and I'm gonna make sure to get my feet in the water because in this video I'm gonna be shooting the sunrise here at Bangui Windmills with the Seascape, and I'm also going to be testing out the Leofoto Poseidon tripod. Now believe me, a shoot like this and a tripod like this is pointless if you're not going to get your feet wet. Now when you're doing something like this, the first thing you want to do is have everything prepared right before you step into the water. And of course, that's just to make sure that everything is set and you don't panic because of the waves and everything like that. Now, one thing you have to make sure is to be right by the edge of the water. And I'm here particularly because this is right where the curves of the waves are best seen. So right now, since the sun hasn't come out yet, but it is already quite bright, I'm shooting at ISO 100, f11, 2 seconds. But that is going to pose a problem. We're doing 2 seconds because we want the waves to paint themselves into the picture. But the problem is the windmill that's nearest me is actually moving quite fast. So we're gonna get a bit of blur on that. So the trick there is to take out the filter and to shoot a more still frame, and we can blend it in together. Now what you wanna do is actually wait for the right wave and then start your exposure maybe around half a second before it crashes right in front of you. And again, I'm doing 2 seconds to 3, I'm actually doing 3.2 seconds right now. And that's because I want there to be motion in the frame, but at the same time, I really don't want the motion to be erased out. So I think that around 2 seconds to 4 seconds is the perfect duration for that exposure. So I realized that I need to move closer, and it's getting brighter because the sun is now on the horizon. So now I'm shifting my settings to get a better sunburst. 2 seconds, f16, ISO 100, while waiting for the perfect wave to crash. And this is turning out to be a really good sunrise. And the sun is rising right on cue. Now I need to go a bit further into the water because I'm not getting hit by the waves as much as I want to be. Not that I want to get wet, but it's for the composition. At the same time, from this angle, we're getting way better curves. I'm shooting at around 17 millimeters. This should be a good wave. Yes. So again, I'm here testing out the Leofoto Poseidon tripod. It's one of those tripods that's very easy to spot when you're out in the field and there's someone using it. Simply because it's blue and it has these silver twist locks, and it's so far I haven't seen anything that looks quite like it. And the first time I saw it from a friend about a year back, I said, well, that's a really nice looking tripod. But then what got me really curious about it, which was perfect when Leofoto reached out and offered to send me one for review is the fact that it is supposedly waterproof, dustproof, and anti-corrosion. So if you're someone like me who shoots seascapes a lot, or okay, fine, someone like me who likes to shoot seascapes a lot, then you probably know why it is very important to have a tripod that can withstand shooting like this. Now, usually, if you're using a regular tripod, you're already probably dreading at this point the fact that you would have to clean it out later on because it's salt water, and even worse, because there's a lot of sand. And that's precisely the key selling point of this tripod is that it is dust proof. So what it should be doing is it should be preventing any dust or any sand from getting into the locks, which is, as you might know, what basically ruins tripods later on. Well, I'm talking about the specs. So the Leofoto Poseidon has actually different sizes. This is the 324C, and I believe this is the largest version. Now it's carbon fiber, so it just weighs less than 2 kilograms. Its maximum height is actually this, which is around 55 inches. But of course, this is a tripod that was made for Seascapes. It's, if you haven't caught it, it's called Poseidon because god of the sea. And it's supposedly the tripod you would want to be using for Seascapes. And I just got hit by a huge wave, and I'm excited about that. Because again, anti-corrosion and dust proof. But also another reason is because it doesn't have a center column, which means that it can go very low. In fact, it can go down to 6.5 inches from the ground to the base of the camera or to the camera plate. Now I've shifted to bracketing for two reasons. I realized that it's a way for me to automatically get short exposures for the windows, and then also a way for me to get relatively longer exposures for the waves. So it's going to be a lot easier to blend together later on. So another tip, I'm looking at the viewfinder right now because it's giving me a better look compared to the screen because again the sun is right in front of me. But at the same time, I'm not closing my right eye because I'm also keeping an eye on where the waves are crashing because again the camera might get wet. I feel like this is too late into the video, but I realized I haven't told you what I'm using aside from the R5. So I'm using the A7R5 16-35 f2.8 GM version 1, and I have a 3-stop ND filter plus a GND, and that's it. 3-stop ND filter to slow down the exposure, but I'm getting the urge to switch to a 6-stop right now because it's getting much brighter. Now I feel like this would be a perfect waste of this tripod if I don't go a bit low. So we're going to shift it to the middle angle, and I really like the locks on these because you can just pull them. So the advantage now is we have a sturdier base. Really hope that camera is recording. I think it is. Okay, time to change filters. Going from a 3-stop to a 6-stop now because it's way too bright already. Okay, so we're on our last day here in Ilocos. We are actually currently in a place called Kapurupurawan Rock Formations. And well, it's just a really, really nice beach with amazing sea stacks and rock formations. But also in the background, I believe you can see some of the windmills that also look amazing. So this is certainly beyond what I expected from this trip. Anyway, the Leofoto Poseidon tripod. Now, again, this is my third day using it. We've shot from beaches with very rugged sea stacks. We've shot from beaches with finer sand. We've shot from freshwater, from waterfalls in the span of 3 days. And here are the things that I can say about the Leofoto Poseidon. And for the benefit of that, let me set down my camera real quick and make sure that there is no goat turd where I set it down. Okay, so the Leofoto Poseidon, again, this is in particular the LP-324C version. First impressions, blue. It stands out. And it might be based on your preference. I actually like the color blue. So I do like how this tripod looks. Maybe the ball head, again, preferential. I would have loved this to remain black or gray, but overall looks really good. Next thing when it comes to impressions, of course, would be the twist locks. And these might be the best twist locks I've ever used in terms of both aesthetic and the experience. Simply because it does have a bit of grip on it. It's a mix of textured metal and rubber grip basically, or rubber coating. So it's very easy to twist. And okay, third thing when it comes to impressions is that, well, this. So when you unlock the tripod, and do take note, this is already a bit wet from today's shoot. But when you unlock the tripod, and I do hope that the microphone catches this, but when you unlock it, it's that smooth. And this is coming from 3 days of shooting in a lot of sand. This is coming from 3 days of getting it wet to as much as I could. This is 3 days of salt water that I haven't even rinsed off. And so far, it is owning up to the claim that it is dust proof. Is it waterproof? I think the definition of waterproof should be specified. But basically, what I do notice is that water is not becoming an issue. But more importantly, it seems to be dust proof. It seems to be sand proof. Why? Because again, 3 days of shooting from beaches and 3 days of shooting in salt water. But for some reason, I don't feel any resistance. I don't feel any scratching. I don't hear any scratching sound on the twist locks. Because whenever you use a tripod in salt water, the day after you're gonna feel a bit of kind of like the tactile experience of grinding coffee or pepper. So far after 3 days, we're not getting any of that. So I do believe what it says, that it is dust proof. And I actually appreciate that so much. Because if you're a landscape photographer, if you like shooting from places like these, every time you're shooting, you're probably already dreading having to clean up your tripod. Well, you still would have to clean up your tripod, but I guess it's going to be a lot easier. Maybe you just have to rinse off the salt water, which is what I'm gonna do when I get home. Now, when it comes to the size, well, again, this is the biggest version. This is the 324C. I really like this size for shooting in rugged places like these, especially if you're gonna submerge it in water. And this is 55 inches from the feet all the way to the Arco Swiss clamp right here on top. When it comes to tripods for certain uses such as these, I think that's tall enough, you know. No center column because of the necessity for going low angles, especially if you're shooting with a lot of foreground elements. So 55 inches on a tripod like this is definitely good. When you go down and you fold all the legs, I also really appreciate the locks here. You just pull it and then widen the legs and then press it when you're done. Pull, widen, press. Pull, widen, press. And then if you're shooting using this configuration, you're basically just 6 inches from the ground. So that's going to be really good if you're shooting very low angles. And that's precisely why you would choose a tripod like this. Now, aside from that, of course, you already see it's a 4-section tripod. Twist locks, really good twist locks. And before we talk about the head, let's talk about the accessory port right here. So just like most other tripods nowadays, there is a 1/4-inch thread here in the middle of the two legs. It's kind of on the central joint. And I love the fact that it's there. However, I kind of wish it was on one of the legs instead of in the middle. Well, because sometimes the arms that we would use on these would have that round thing that would help you rotate the screw. However, it was actually really hard to install something like that here. And I usually use this port to actually connect that camera to the side of this tripod so that I could have like a POV shot coming from here. So I feel like the fact that it's in the middle, it's kind of in the corner of the two legs. Well, it's making it harder to reach the port. So I would have loved if, like some other tripod brands, it would be here. But that's a minor thing. Again, I'm already thankful that there is a port like that here. Now, I really love the LH40 ball head. I have another one of these with a gear head attachment on top. The knobs we have on this would be the main knob for the ball control, and then we have a secondary friction knob here that basically tightens the effect of this knob. And then of course we have the panning knob right here. And of course the quick release clamp is Arca Swiss compatible. So that's a good thing. That's a standard for most photography tripods nowadays. So that's really good. And then it also has 2 notches here instead of just one. So if ever you're gonna have to shoot vertically or shoot in an unusual angle, then it can help you with that. If there would be anything to improve on this, I just kind of wish that the quick release clamp would also pan, just like other ball heads from, I think Leofoto also has that. But yeah, well, for one, this is my first time reviewing Leofoto's tripods. I have been seeing them from friends for a while now, but it took me quite a while to get my hands on one. But this gives me a really good impression for the brand. So there, overall, well, first thing is that it does live up to the claim. It is dust proof, and that's a huge relief coming from a shoot like this. Waterproof, well, it's supposed to be. It's also carbon fiber, and it should also be less prone to corrosion, so that's a good thing. Overall, I really love this tripod. This is going to be a keeper. So yeah, really impressed with the Leofoto Poseidon. Definitely something that's worth saving up for, because it's not cheap as well, but it's not too expensive in my opinion. It's a specialized tripod in such a way that it is something that best shines in rugged landscapes, in rugged seascapes, and definitely worth investing on something, even if it's a bit pricey. Because number one, it's going to secure your shots. It's going to make sure you're able to do what you want to do with your photos. And number two, it's going to secure your gear, because any failure of a tripod, regardless of how expensive it is, will be the loss of your camera, which is most often more expensive than the tripod itself. So that's something that I always tell people as well. If you're going to invest on expensive gear, please do also invest on a relatively expensive tripod. Again, I'm not calling it expensive. There are tripods that are a whole lot more expensive than this, but this is also not a cheap tripod, but it is definitely worth investing on. So there, this is the Leofoto LP-324C, better known as the Poseidon tripod. It comes with the LH40 ball head, and yeah, it's perfect for rugged seascapes. It's perfect for low angle landscape photography, and it's something definitely worth carrying around when you're traveling. So there, if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them down below in the comment section. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Nicco Valenzuela. I am a landscape and architectural photographer. Today, I am a landscape photographer, and that really makes me happy. But yeah, this channel contains videos about landscape photography, architectural photography, cameras, lenses, tripods, filters, bags, and everything you probably enjoy watching. So if you're into that, then do click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. In any case, greetings from Ilocos Norte, and thank you for watching.